I'd like to invite our closing speaker up to the stage, Ross Harris. I think it was about a year ago, I was lucky enough to see him present as part of the, I think it was an Appalachia Gulf South presentation or Taproot Earth presentation. I don't even remember. All I know is I heard him talk and I could not stop talking about Souladarity. I know my staff heard it, people heard it, but he literally works with a group that brought light to the dark. And I don't want to steal his thunder because the story is so amazing. And what was done to this community felt so atrocious to me. I mean, we're talking about like what we need to be healthy. And as he will tell you, they left a whole community in the dark, and he'll tell you who did it. So I'll invite Ross up. I'm not gonna do a long intro because he does some of this in his story. So thank you, I'm so glad you came.
All right, y'all, we made it to the end of the day, right? How y'all feeling? Feeling good? Okay. So I always like to start with just saying peace. Let you know I'm coming in peace and I demand peace. Also want to say what up, though, because I'm from Detroit. That's our saying. And let's get to it. And also I'm working on like 4 hours of sleep. So if I stumble on some stuff, it's because of the sleep. I think the first one is the video. So first I just want to play a video. The reason why, even though I'm going to explain who Souladarity is, what we did, I just want to give you some context and let you see the video of the people who actually put that work in, the community members, the residents, and just give you a little bit of backstory. So I'm going to go ahead and play it.
My city is a strong community. It's in the middle of Detroit. Has strong roots in the automotive industry.
Always had kind of a small town feel, even though it's in the center of a large metropolitan area.
The city is like a big family. My cousins are cousins of cousins, and my brothers are brothers of brothers, and my sisters are sisters of sisters.
Highland Park has given so much to the country and the world.
In 1918, Ford opened the first Model T plant, the first automobile automated assembly line in the world. It became the world headquarters of Chrysler, Ford, and the city exploded to a population of 56,000. Since Ford moved out, since Chrysler moved out, since all these large employers have left this city, the population has dropped from 56,000 down to somewhere between 12 and 10,000 now.
The population decline has caused much less money to be returned to the city in terms of taxes. Our latest problem is the removal of the street lights, which basically put us in the dark.
Wasn't funding in the city, and DTE came in and cut the lights out, which was a tragic thing because, you know, when you deal in the inner city, you deal with a lot of crime. You can't walk up streets at night. So that leaves people open to get robbed.
Took it away. Took away our quality of life.
I understood that money was owed, you know, and our city being as strapped for, you know, for funds as we are, you know, that's what had to be done. But just like water, we need light too. We need to see. You know, we need to feel secure. If, for whatever reasons, city government cannot make that happen, I believe that the people should be self-sufficient enough to do it for themselves.
It was sort of in response to this situation that Souladarity came to be. We realized that we needed to light the streets, that with solar power we would never pay an electrical bill again. With solar power we could do this in a way that was responsible and safe for the rest of the world. And with solar power we can have the community actually own and plan and develop the street lights.
We need lights. Why complain when you can do it yourself? And instead of waiting for someone to do it or come in and do it, we can do it ourselves at a less cost?
Ideal place to introduce things that require community participation, community involvement, community support.
Well, there are a lot of creative and loving people that love their space, that loves Highland Park, and that are willing to do whatever it takes to keep it together, to save our city, to make it back beautiful again.
And Souladarity is trying to turn these lights back on, power them with solar energy, and bring the community together to plan and own their own off-grid street lighting system.
I see the solar street lighting as being kind of a roadmap to how we could accomplish decentralizing utilities as a whole. Everything from the sewerage to the electricity to the gas. This could be the first step in showing community-owned infrastructure the impact that it could have on a larger scale.
For the community to own the street lights. That's the really important part of it. They will own them, so no worries about getting it repossessed.
Once people get the notion that you don't have to depend on corporations that really don't care about your community, that you can take care of these things yourself, I think that it'll grow like wildfire.
It'll become infectious and people will see that, oh, they got a light, and then they'll want to have one put in their community. Then we'll have to shoot over there and get them one in their community, because that's what's going to happen.
It puts more of the responsibility on the community itself, and it gives it a chance to grow on a block-by-block basis.
Cooperative.
Solidarity is helping to build a local economy here. Countless jobs can be created, not only on the manufacturing end, but the installation end, maintenance of the street lights.
This is definitely the wave of the future as far as being able to disconnect from the grid and different things like that. So this was just a perfect opportunity to sign on with installing a street light that's grid-free and operated and controlled by the sun.
This has been an incredibly exciting and empowering experience for me to work on, because people get excited at the prospect of owning their own lights and bringing light back to their city.
I know that we're on the right track. I'm on a good board. I can't wait to see the faces light up when the lights light up.
So every single person that you saw in that video is a member of Souladarity. We had community members there. You had people that worked with the city who's there. You had other nonprofit executives who were a part of that video as well. And you had even our co-director. So Souladarity has never been, even as a small organization, it's an organization made up of the community.
My city is a strong community.
I'm going to give you a little bit of background on who we are. So Souladarity is an ambitious, resident-led nonprofit organizing for solar power and energy democracy in Highland Park. Highland Park is a city actually within Detroit. So Detroit has two cities within it, Highland Park and Hamtramck. And let me give you information about myself. I am the Deputy Director of Souladarity, but outside of that, I am a lifelong organizer. I've been organizing since I was 19, which is quite a while ago. I've done environmental justice organizing. I started as a housing organizer during the '08 housing crash. I like to disrupt systems, especially when they're oppressive. But lastly, I am a father who is trying to make the world better for his kids in the future. But before I became all that, I understood that power is defined as organized people and organized dollars, or organized resources. And I learned that at a very young age, growing up in one of the most polluted zip codes in Michigan. This is our group, our team. This is the team that pretty much changed the trajectory of Highland Park and actually has made DTE, which is one of the largest monopolies of energy, extremely scared, which is quite funny because if you look at them, they don't look threatening, right? They look happy, they look wholesome, but DTE is shaking in their boots, and we've heard through the grapevine that they are extremely scared of Souladarity. So a little bit about the history of Souladarity and myself. I come from Southwest Detroit, which is, once again, the most polluted zip code in Michigan, 48217 zip code. is actually surrounded by over 40 industrial plants. Marathon, DTE Coal Refinery, US Steel, and it's a lot of toxic fumes that are constantly pumped in the air. As a kid, I never realized how bad they were. Like we all knew they were bad, but it's just like outside kind of smells like rotten eggs, and it just is what it is. Sometimes you will touch the floor of our basements, and you'll feel the heat because there's a salt mine under Southwest Detroit, and they'll blow up UC4 and different types of explosives to mine that salt. So you could feel the heat from the explosion, and it was just a normal occurrence. I think, let's see, if you look in the back, like behind those white tanks, there is a freeway. So as soon as you hit that freeway, the green areas, the south of Detroit, that's where all the southern suburbs of Detroit are. That's what they call downriver. So even though they do experience some pollution, not as much as Southwest Detroit, which is right by this Marathon factory right here. So as soon as you hit that freeway, that's when you start to smell the rotten eggs, the different chemicals. And to this day, I don't live there, but whenever I drive past there, my head still hurts. So it's quite bad. But in my teenage years, I moved to a completely different community, an affluent community called Grosseal, which is 48138. So it's where that green area I showed you, that's where that's located, further downriver. And that is actually an island community in between Michigan and Canada. So same region, different zip code, but still faces quite similar challenges of pollution, but just not as bad because they're farther removed, but they have a little bit of money. So this is what the skyline of Southwest Detroit is when you look towards all the chemical plants. So you have Zug Island out there where US Steel is. Right in the front you have DT, I think that's Marathon. And the back back left you have DTE. And if you see that street in the front, my house when I lived in Southwest was probably about a 10-minute walk from there. So this is something that we saw all the time. Now this is Grosseal. That island right there is where I spent my teenage years. Very pristine, very affluent. But if you look towards the left, you still have some kind of factories, some things over there as well. But for the most part, it was a very clean area. This is Southwest Detroit again. This park right here is where I played football, baseball, and also got beat up for the first time. Yep, right by those flower beds right there. So yeah, I played on the Orioles, so whenever you hit a home run, you would hit it straight towards the Marathon factory. And our goal all the time was to see who could hit the factory. Nobody could hit the factory, but we always try to hit the factory. This is East River on Grosseal, so this is, see, pretty much a night and day difference, right? Night and day difference. Once again, Marathon, it's Grosseal. So even though in the beginning I grew up near Marathon, near 40 different power plants, or 40 different industrial waste centers, an explosion happened near Grosseal in '01. That explosion released chemicals in the air for I think about 2 days, and they evacuated the north side of the island. The response was immediate. They immediately had a $1.2 million settlement, which was about $550 per household member, around $225 a day, just for them to leave. Now, at the time, I thought it was a little crazy, because I'm like 20, 30 minutes down south on 75 in Southwest Detroit, people are living, smelling the exact same thing, because when the explosion happened, I'm like, oh, it smells like home. I'm like, this smells familiar. But now that I'm older, I realize that yes, they were compensated at a higher rate. Your health, there is no price tag on that. You can't put a price tag, because $550 per household, even though it was only 2 days, they still don't have the evidence or the documentation of what that has done to the people. There's not enough research. They haven't done any studies. I think one study may have came out like 2022, and they said that there was, no toxins in the water, nothing that needs for further research, but who knows, right? But the thing was, it was short exposure, immediate compensation. Now, if we put that same amount at $225 a day for exposure on the people that lived in Southwest Detroit in that 48217 zip code, that would pretty much equate to $6.39 if they lived there the average of 30 years, which most people in that zip code live. That's how long they lived there. My grandmother lived there. Most residents, they know your parent, your mother, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. Most people who live there don't really move. Now, in 2020, there was a settlement that DTE did make, but it wasn't for health concerns. It was to get people to move away. So the goal, the thing was, the bartering agreement was, if you leave, we'll give you at least $70,000. And on top of that, a $100 gift card. No, a $100 gas gift card. I'm sorry, it wasn't even a gift card. You can use it on Marathon gas, right? So if they would have got compensated, what people from Grosville would have got compensated, it would have been about $2 million per person. So it always makes me wonder, or it did at the time, like, why don't they care about these people who live right next door to this pollution? You know there's an issue. You paid people who live further down, who were exposed for 2 days to these same chemicals. What's the difference? And that was my first experience of environmental racism at a very young age. So that kind of shaped my trajectory in terms of organizing. Like I said, I started at 19. Occupy Wall Street, housing, all Black Lives Matter. That's kind of what shaped me. And that's, once again, when I realized organized people and organized dollars are power. And if you don't have one, you must have the other one. So this is Highland Park. Highland Park was a thriving community at one time. It was called the City of Trees for the beauty that it had. The first assembly line in the country was in Highland Park. All those gas guzzling cars just lined up, ready to go out in the world. But like the video said, it was a de-investment. They moved to the suburbs during the sprawl, and what they did is they took the resources. They didn't hire people from Highland Park to have those jobs. They left them, just like they left these abandoned buildings. Highland Park has no high schools, has no school system, because it wasn't enough residents. So imagine walking down the street 5 o'clock in the winter, as we all know. I don't know if you all know, but in Detroit, it gets dark around 4:35. And this is an extreme danger to have children walking past this or elders walking past this. Some residents took it upon themselves to start marking up buildings, letting people know, hey, we didn't always look like this. Sometimes there was a lot of there was a preconceived notion that people were destroying these homes that lived there and people want to live like this. No, no one wants to live like this. Now we fast forward to 2011, and this is kind of around the time that actually Detroit started to go through the bankruptcy, right? So Highland Park was one of the first cities to also do the bankruptcy. And what happened with that was first the lights went. And they didn't just turn the lights off. They didn't just say, hey, we'll work with you to come up with a payment plan, we'll work with you to come up with different grants. They completely removed the lights out of the ground. Like, I didn't even know, before this happened, I didn't even know they removed lights out of the ground. That was a completely new thing to me. So definitely left the community in the dark. But and this is before I joined Souladarity. What I praise Souladarity and the community members for doing is, they said no immediately. They didn't beg for the lights to come back. They didn't beg for the lights to be turned back on. They didn't beg for money. What they did is they organized, and they organized in a way that they brought innovation to Highland Park. They changed the trajectory of Highland Park, and they installed the first community solar light in Highland Park a year later. That's incredible. Oh, got cut off. Anyway, these are some Highland Park residents and Souladarity members making phone banking calls to other residents, telling them about the Light Our Community campaign. Just regular people. A lot of these people, were learning about organizing as they were going. They didn't have an organizing background. And I don't know if you can see that, but that is the first Souladarity light. And as you can see around it, it's like almost pitch black dark. And also the thing is, we did this without the city's approval. The city, we just put it up. We got the funds, we found a contractor to do it. They gave us a great deal on it, and we put it up, and then we dealt with the ramifications. Then we started going to city council to advocate for how can we expand this. And then we, when they say that, hey, you guys can't do this, our response is, do you like living in the dark? You ask an elected official, do you like living in the dark where the constituents are in the room? Of course they're gonna say no. Of course they're gonna wanna work with you. So that's exactly what they did. And then we got more streetlights. So this is on Avalon Village. This is a street that was completely abandoned, but now Mama Shu, who was in the video with the house behind her with the graffiti, she's turned that into a homework house, powered by solar. There's a STEM lab powered by solar. And this one looks a little different than the first one. This one actually has Wi-Fi mesh networking built into it. So during 2020, we found that a lot of residents weren't able to communicate with each other because of COVID. So we went and we started looking for different alternatives of solar lights, and we found solar lights with Wi-Fi capability. So anyone who's in this neighborhood can get on for free and be completely off the grid. So when we started looking at, after we put up the solar lights, at first we started as a tech company to try to fix an issue. Then we started doing the research and we started to realize, okay, the ongoing cost is cheaper, the 15-year cost is cheaper, the energy, the CO2 emissions is less. Like, we started seeing all these benefits that it could provide to the community. So then we changed from being a tech company to being an energy democracy company. And we started figuring out how could we also help people understand energy, and how can we also help people understand how to fight for their rights. That's just a picture of the Wi-Fi. So, real quick, where we started, 2012, and installing the first street light. But 2023, we did something a little different. We actually challenged DTE in their 20-year plan. Every year, a utility has to present their energy plan to a commission. And when they do that, the people who are affected can challenge that. And that's exactly what we did. We got experts, we got lawyers, we organized with other community organizations, about 20 other organizations, and we came together and we said that DTE's plan is not affordable. DTE's plan doesn't reduce coal emissions. We challenge every single thing in their plan, and over, think about 9 months, DTE folded on a $38 million settlement. So the reason they folded is because they're shareholders. They had to get this plan passed in a certain amount of time or their stock was gonna lose. So it was cheaper for them to settle and put $38 million into a community fund to satisfy some things. So what happened with that is $8 million went to fixing homes, to make those homes in Highland Park and Detroit ready for solar. So fixing roofs, fixing furnaces, fixing wires. 30 million of it went to forgivement of back debt for DTE. And then they also were going to end their coal plants 3 years early. And then they also created a community solar project that will start in 2028. So that's what a group of people were able to do when they organized. Just last year, we got approved by the city of Highland Park for 50 additional streetlights. So that brought our total from 27 in 2024 to 67 currently. And in 2026, we are currently doing energy democracy training, so training community members on organizing strategies, along with also continuing to challenge DTE on their price hikes. Every year they have been doing price hikes, so every year we challenge. They're also are definitely trying to tap into the data centers. Current model is showing that the new data centers that they want to put up will use up 40% of DTE's capacity. So what that looks like is they're going to pass that cost on down to us. So we are working with different groups right now to challenge that. We also are working towards virtual power plants. So that is a connection of sustainable products. So you have solar, some places you have batteries, and then you have smart appliances that all, when they're interconnected, it creates virtual power plants. So we have changed a lot since 2012 from that one street light, but none of this could have been possible without the people that were around the table. Well, I feel like these are all out of order a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yes.
I feel like when I saw you do this presentation before, there was an image of the sky of the neighborhood, like black in the middle of Detroit.
Yes.
What's the radius of the neighborhood?
So Highland Park is 2.7 square miles. Yeah. So that whole area was dark. So it was like you see Detroit, which is lit up, and then you see this black square, and right in the middle of Detroit. And that's exactly where it was. Yep. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
I'm going to just say a quick thank you to everyone for being here, for our vendors, our speakers, our guests, the folks online. John for helping us get this lovely space. We hope we can join you again here next year. And thanks to my team and anyone else, Halt the Harm, Pennsylvania League of Women Voters, who helped to make this event happen. I'll pass it off to you.
All right, I'll be quick because everybody, it's been a long day and it was pretty amazing. I can't believe it's over. But thank you so much. And again, thanks to Duquesne, thanks to our volunteers that have helped out today, Marie and Adam and Sydney out front with Anita. Thanks to the environmental groups that have manned their tables the whole day, and I hope you got a chance to take a look at that. Thank you to all the speakers. And I think, you know, I am uplifted because, again, it's, you know, for me, it's been going on over 15 years. And, you know, again, we're making progress, and I think the needle is shifting. And I realize it's kind of, you know, under the circumstances, you know, the EPA, well, they'll survive, but it's up to us. And I think we've been given some great examples today. I mean, the last one, I mean, how can you take the street lights away? Seriously, okay? But they can do it. And they feel justified in doing it, and we have to fight back. And I know, yeah, I'm an academic. Breaking news, obviously, you might have heard, I'm gonna close the lab at the end of June, but I'm gonna do other things, and I'm gonna write. And I'm gonna write stories about people in this room and the important successes that people have had, because we need to spread the word, and we can't give up hope. And we have to work for a better future. Thank you, and hope to see you next time.